Okay, so last week we went through what we call the outsourcing, and today we do the quiz on that. Uh, does any of you guys have any question about outsourcing? If you do, this is the best chance to ask question. Uh, right, I got the answer. Question. Let me check. No, okay. All right, we'll go through the lecture real quick. So non-disclosure agreement, acronym is NDA. So non-disclosure agreement is the agreement between two or more parties. They agree that, and this kind of agreement you're not supposed to show it to the public. So the word non-disclosure, let me break down this kind of word really quick. So disclosure, you look at, it's come from the word close, close, and you when you add disclosure, when you negate it, so it become open, and then you add none before it, so the opposite of open, close again, something private. Okay, everyone understand this part? Non-disclosure. So non-disclosure, I mean like not supposed to be available to the public. And non-disclosure agreement is used when sensitive and confidential data is shared between two or more parties. So, you know, in the business, you cannot work alone, right? You need like in outsourcing or whatever thing, you have to share your company information with your business partner or your outsourcing partner. One simple example about like confidentiality is, I don't know, recently you see in our Paragon email, if you look at the bottom, you see a disclaimer that says something like, this email is not supposed to be shared to the public. Yeah, I hope you guys will notice that. So what it means is like the purpose of the email is supposed to be shared between people, students, and staff in the organization in like Paragon University. If you decide to share to the public, yes, you can do that, but it's illegal. If, let's say, those emails that contain sensitive information, or maybe it might affect the school popularity of the brand name, and if the school decide to file a lawsuit against you, you always 100% you always lose it, because at the bottom of the email they already tell you that this email is not for the public purpose, for like people in the organization only. So that is the concept of confidentiality. All right, come back to the logistic. When do we need when do we need to create this kind of agreement? So it happened when in a situation where a company is planning to outsource logistic or supply chain operation. Like sufficient data are required for the meaningful quotation for the service to be outsourcing. Again, for Amazon, when they sell the product to the customer, so the delivering company, they need to have access to those kind of data. You know, those data is really important. So especially the sales data, you don't want your competitor to know how many products you sell this month, how many books that you sell. So if they know those kind of data, they kind of predict what your company, what kind of strategy your company is gonna employ, gonna use like next year or whatever. But unfortunately, you need to share those data with your partner. Like you have to share it with the delivery company, because they have access to the data. They know like what kind of product you ask like Amazon asking them to ship to Amazon customer. They know everything. But the non-disclosure agreement, the non-disclosure agreement state that even though you know the data about Amazon, you're not supposed to share to any other party. You have to keep it confidential. Not supposed to share it. And when you have to create this kind of agreement, it's it should be at the beginning of outsourcing process. When you start, like before you, to be honest, before you do anything with your business partner, you need to make sure you have to prepare the non-disclosure agreement and have them sign it. So the party or the business partner that involved in outsourcing operation should receive a copy of NDA, and they all have to be signed by a senior director or the company owner before you start doing anything. Okay, it happened a lot in our country. Sometimes, like a lot of conflict happen between maybe sharing the interest because, or I don't know, whatever thing. It happened a lot because like sometimes they don't like have some kind of agreement or signed by every party in event. So when they have problem, they're just trying to blame on each other. So that's not good either. So non-disclosure agreement, it help to resolve like conflicts in the future. And in the book, they just give you example. This is sample is straight from the book. So yeah, and it's vary from company to company. But on the top, you need to make sure you have to list your company and your partner company and who is responsible for it. And you have to provide background, what is your company background, and what are you trying to do. And you have to say, all right, everyone has to be agreed upon, and you list down the item that you need everyone to be agreed. I'm not going to read everything on this, but just want to clarify that for the non-disclosure agreement, you agree to like not to share the data to the public, and those have to be included like the written information, electronic form like email or like electronic receipt or visual or machine readable form. I don't know, different kind of form. Or or maybe if you have a meeting with your business partner and they share some kind of information, those kind of information, even though it's not written or it's not in recorded in the system, you are not supposed to share it either. Every information has to be kept within the company. I don't think also at the end of the agreement, you need to put their name, and everyone has to be signed to sign. So make sure they sign and put the date. I know this kind of agreement is hard to make. There is a whole course that talk about how to create a non-disclosure agreement. It varies from company to company, but for people who are like on the have experience in the industry for many years, and they know what kind of agreement that they have to do. Yeah, these people will help you along the way. So the purpose of this class is just want to introduce you the concept of confidentiality, why it's important to the company, and why it's matter in logistics. So it help to protect the data that the company use for their own benefit. Again, it's really important to protect your company data, avoid at all costs that your data might fall into your competitor. There's some story that I heard. Uh, Sometimes your competitor they just send someone to apply job in your company, and that person their goal is trying to gather or collect as many information and data from your company as much as possible and then forward it to your competitor. That case, unfortunately, it happened and happened a lot, uh, unfortunately. But yeah, it's illegal. If that person get caught, you could file a lawsuit again, first against the person and second against the company because it's illegal to do that. That's why when you hire someone or before you approve someone to work in your company, if you are an HR or whatever, you need to have agreement between company and the employee. And those agreements, some kind of agreement, uh, has to be signed by the new employee saying that they agree not to share the information and the data or forward or the email or whatever to other third party. Yeah. And yeah, make sure they use the company computer. They work with your company computer, and personal computer or laptop is not allowed to plug into like the company system or network. Yeah, Cambodia is kind of like not really careful about that. Uh, I don't know, but in developed country they are so worried about that. Yeah, but I think it's time right now. If you guys don't have any question, class dismissed. If you have any question or concern, please, you are welcome to stick around and ask me question.
So, if you can you explain the exercise about the exercise that you paced for us last week, like
Okay.
for next week? Yeah,
Can we do it on Wednesday next week? Because we ran out of time.
yeah, sure, yes.
Yeah, it's not for submission or whatever. It's just like want you to like I don't know. It's that kind of exercise I think is applicable to your life. Um, and also I might find a better way to explain you. I try to explain in section the other section, and I don't think they really get it. So I might find different way to explain to you. But don't worry about that. Just think about it for a minute, maybe a week. Give you another week to think about it. Okay. Yeah. When I was in the academy, I first learned about that kind of exercise when I was in a sophomore. But I don't know whether if the school have another course that will use this exercise, great. But if not, uh, that's what you have right now. All right. Class dismissed. You don't have any question. Uh, hope.
So actually, I
Okay.
have about the non-kosher disagree. So basically, you have to
Okay.
hire the lawyers to write it, and
Oh yeah.
so that become an official document or what's that?
So no, not only a lawyer. So a lawyer they just want to ensure that the agreement is like go according to the country, the national regulation. You could outsource it to the lawyer, but normally the people who work in your company they are more familiar with the agreement. And to be honest, it's not really different. It's vary, but it's not really different. So the purpose of the agreement is to keep everything like information confidential. So maybe you could like copy the agreement from the book because some point it also apply to the company, but you might have to add a few more points that apply to your industry. If let's say the company is big, it's like Eon or Chipmunk or whatever, yeah, they should have to hire a lawyer to check the agreement, make sure the agreement don't have a what they call a secret agenda. Because like some people they are like smart, they kind of like uh, write something that you not really understand it, and later on they might use that point to take advantage of you. So if your company is really big, yeah, it's important to hire a lawyer or ask maybe a friend who has experience in law to help check it. Okay. Any other questions? All right. All right. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Yeah. Have a nice weekend.